Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry, I don't need my glasses. So, how do you feel this morning? Astrid, as always, good morning, Astrid. How do you feel this morning? My love, how do you feel this morning?
I feel good. I was a little bit tired.
You have a doubt? I feel good. You have a doubt?
No, I don't have doubts. Just I was a little bit tired, but no, I feel good.
Me, I wake up 5 o'clock. I call my body. She told me 20 minutes. She came after 30 minutes. It's okay. I make 2 short meditation in the car. Then we walk. We had a nice chat. Then I'm here. I bring 1 child. Then I come back. I make my tea. We have a nice chat with our guest for today. And I'm planning to invite my wife for a coffee to pay me 1 coffee after in my favorite place, so we can sit watching the sea, reading the book like an old English retirement couple. Let me see if she will get the offer, but this is different story, okay? So, how many of you didn't make the videos? And why you didn't make the videos last night, yesterday? What held you? What held you?
Yeah, this is an important feedback actually, to find out why you didn't do it. What stopped you to do it?
Yeah.
That's something you might want to address, especially in this morning community. And you can even like writing, so maybe we can support you in this and find maybe something that could help you to do it.
I still remember when I make my first video to introduce myself in one closed group. I was in France and was early in the morning, and I just quit my job and I decided, okay, I'm going to have a different future. And I said, listen, I need to make this video. So I make, of course, I make 1 trial. But I said, what's going on? When I see the other people, they're doing the videos, I say, wait, I can make it also. And I make it. And it's not important what the people will say if they will support you. It's important what you're going to say to yourself. For example, man, I take a step. This is something good for me, you know? I believe in myself. So I can make more things, new things. I can experience new things.
Yeah, you'll feel very free after. So just give it a shot. And here we are here to support you. So you're a safe environment, so you can experience yourself here.
Guys, don't believe in Corona. There is no Corona global community. We are safe environment here, even without masks. I want to talk today for something which is bothering me for so long. And this is when my clothes start to get small. It's not from the Ariel washing machine or something else. It's from the food I eat.
So let's see what Pat has to say about this.
I hope she will say only good, positive things for me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. How are we today?
We are
great. How are you guys? How's everyone? How's the water intake over the past week? I hope we have new members of the I Drink Water Every Day in the Morning Club.
Yeah, I have my lemon water.
But my love, you know what you do? She cut half lemon and she squeezed it. And what I do, I cut one small piece of lemon and I put it in. So this half can be for 4 days. This one is for 1 day. Hello, be more economical.
We can add up to a full lemon to our water. It depends on the taste we acquire too. So no worries.
I know we have a trees around us with lemon, but it's not nice to go to take the lemon from the neighbors.
So, Pat, we'll be talking today about diets. So, and why they don't really work. So, what can you tell us about this?
I think they work, my love.
Absolutely.
But opposite. You don't eat and
Okay,
you get
let's
fat.
see about that. How many of you guys have dieted before?
I never.
Oh,
So you're
wow.
perfect the way
I
you
have.
are. Me, a
Fantastic.
lot, many times.
No, I just pay attention about what I eat. But
Oh my God, let me tell you, because it's close group, let me tell you for my sister and my niece, they're paying a lot of crazy money for dietitian, this dietolog, you know. You need to eat crazy ideas. And in the end, believe me or not, they're growing. I said to my sister, why are you paying money to this lady to grow? I said, I can tell you how you can grow. So now they're growing up. Anyway, but yes,
Yeah.
they pay money for nothing.
Speaking of money, the weight management industry worldwide is worth $189.9 billion. And that number is expected to increase 4 years from now to $269 billion. So this industry will come crashing down if only we did one thing, and that is accept ourselves the way we are and not go to extreme measures and not try the first thing that comes to us from fad diets and pills without really understanding what we're doing to our body. So yes, I see where you're coming from. Now, in terms of dieting and why it doesn't work, diets do work, but unfortunately for a very specific short period of time. On the long run, they have many side effects and they mess with our metabolism, and we're going to get into a little bit detail on this as we go. But for now, for the time being, I'm going to put my Dr. Barbara hat on and talk a little bit about the brain. So what actually controls the body weight is the brain. There's something called a set point weight, and this is our happy weight. So simply put, it's the weight in which our body is happy at. It's the weight at which our body is comfortable with. It's our natural weight. And whenever we diet, the brain feels threatened. So I'm going to go a little bit hormonal on you guys and talk about a hunger hormone called leptin. Leptin is proportional to the levels of fat in your body. So that means that the more leptin you have in your bloodstream, the more fat you have on your body. What happens when you diet? We lose weight, we lose the fat, and we're all happy about it, right? So when we lose the fat, the levels of leptin in our blood drop, and our brain gets the signal like, oh my God, this is not my natural weight. Oh my God, we got to all work together to bring the fat back. Let's bring the fat back. This is our brain's response because it doesn't feel comfortable. This is not the ideal weight that it feels is good for you or is right for you. And what happens with this set point dilemma is that the brain begins to send us hunger signals. Suddenly, like a box of donuts and bagels and pizza become super irresistible, you know, and cravings become much, much harder to ignore and control. And we, in turn, binge eat. To illustrate this example a little bit further, there is a neuroscientist by the name of Stephan Guyenet who explains this phenomenon and compares it to a thermostat at home. So what's the role of this thermostat? The role of this device is to control the body temperature and the house temperature and regulate it. So if the temperature drops too low or increases too high, the role of the thermostat is to bring it back to a baseline to regulate the temperature. And this is exactly what our brain does when our fat levels drop or increase actually beyond what we think is normal. The brain works against us because sometimes what the brain thinks our ideal weight is entirely different from what we want our ideal weight to be. This is why diets backlash from biological perspective. So biologically, we are against dieting. We're not wired to diet. We're not wired to be that stressful about our food. What I just explained is simply called, it's the classic starvation response. Well, we're not really starving and we are eating foods, but with a drop in fat levels, it's a typical starvation response. So far, so good?
Yes, I was just thinking about fasting. How does he interact fasting? Is it work also on the same hormones? What's happening now?
Okay, hold that thought, because not next week talk, but the one that's after that, we're only talking about fasting. We're talking about intermittent fasting in all its different forms, and we're going to go into detail because it's a very misunderstood topic. Love the question, but hold that thought. I don't want to get ahead of myself.
I have a question. I think I'm addicted to the sweets, but maybe I'm not, because if I'm addicted to sweets, it means every day I will go in the store to buy some chocolate. But maybe, it's becoming a big fight when I go in the supermarket and I see my favorite sweets. And I said, I need to eat. I want to eat. I want to eat. I want to eat. I said, you know what? I will eat. I ate. And then I said, you idiot, why you did it? You want to go to the gym, you want to lose kilos. Why you did it? So how is going here? How I can overcome this?
First of all, you have to accept that you love sugar, and that is okay. Because what's happening right now is you're guilt tripping yourself, right? You say, I want to cut sugar completely. I'm going to the gym. I'm doing such a good job. And then you have this piece of sugar and you didn't really commit a crime. You had a candy bar or a chocolate bar, and that is okay. The problem, not really a problem, but the challenge here is to work on your portion controls. Like, let's say you normally have 2 bars of chocolate, I don't know, or like 1 big piece of carrot cake. The challenge here is to be...
The problem with me is I don't have a bar of chocolate. I have 1 chocolate.
So maybe you associate the sugars with the feeling of satisfaction. So the meal is not complete if it's not finished with something sweet. Can you say that for yourself?
I take chocolate separate even before the meal sometimes.
So you really love chocolate. And that is okay. That is absolutely okay. You honor your body's cravings, and it's part of something called intuitive eating that we will be talking about later. But what you just said is the typical yo-yo dieter or chronic dieter syndrome, if we want to call it that way. When you want something, then you prevent yourself from having it, and then you start feeling guilty or shameful because you thought about having it, and then it's a whole cycle. It really is a cycle. This is why when you start dieting, it's very difficult to stop dieting. Yeah. You can learn something from Clementine.
I want to encourage the people. As I said, this is a safe environment. Even I'm going to send a message to you, each of you, to say this is a safe environment. You can. We don't ask you to take your clothes off. We just ask you to ask questions because it's your morning community. Ask a question. There is no stupid. There is no clever question. There is a question. If you don't know something, ask. If you want to know more, ask. And absolutely. For example, but look at me, guys. I said I'm addicted, and I don't pretend I eat 1 cube of chocolate like a Clementine. I eat 1 big chocolate like me, and then I feel guilty, and then I call myself idiot. And I'm not ashamed to say this because I want to find out an answer about this. Anyway, yes.
Pat, do you think that this, like sugar, they say like it's like a drug, can change our behavior in general?
Absolutely.
Something wrong with my behavior?
Absolutely. Sugar is a stimulant and caffeine is a stimulant. So we're always like hyperactive on sugar. This is why there's something called the caffeine crash or sugar crash when caffeine or sugar drops in our blood level. And on the long run, we might not be aware, like if we're regularly consuming sugar or regularly consuming caffeine, we might not be aware of the effect those foods have on us until we actually stop them and cut them clean.
Yeah, I know these kind of people. Please don't talk to me before to have my first coffee, okay? Please do this for me, please.
Okay, so in this case, like food has control over you, right?
Yes,
so
exactly.
I absolutely enjoy my morning cup of coffee and my evening cup of coffee and my afternoon cup of coffee. I love caffeine, but I don't let it reach a point where I'm like, no, caffeine controls me. It doesn't control me. To test that out, I cut caffeine for 30 days, for example. And it's something that you guys can do too with whatever food that you constantly crave. to make sure that it doesn't have control over you, you can simply cut it out for 30 days. It might not be an easy process, but afterwards you'll feel actually so much stronger and empowered, and you'll understand that you can actually survive without caffeine, even though you knew that on a conscious level. Your brain will really feel that you're okay with that caffeine, for example.
I agree with you. I worked as a barman for 15 years, and imagine I'm all the time next to the coffee machine, so I have approximately 10 to 15 coffees a day. And when I meet Clementine and I quit the job as a barman, I had one coffee, and even some days I don't have a coffee at all. Now even I make a tea. But yes, from the beginning, it's unacceptable. Say, how am I going to live without the coffee? We have a very nice question from Sabine, and this is my love, can you read it, please?
Yes. So she say, I'm a stress eater. Can I?
Eater.
Can
Eater.
What can
Not
I
heater.
do? What can I do to reduce it?
Okay, Sabine, thank you for the question. We're going to hang in there a little bit because we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. Okay? We're going to go over the type of eaters that we are. But before we do that, let's just sum up what dieting really does to us, because it's something that we really are unaware of. I was one of those people. I was all kinds of dieters, all kinds of eaters. I would try any diet that I would find, anything that's commercial, without really understanding the side effects or what really I'm doing to my body. And research suggests actually that even people who know the side effects of diet pills, for example, still go for the diet pills because this is how strong their desire to lose weight is. So we really put losing weight and losing fat high up on a pedestal, and we do anything to get there, regardless of the consequences. So first and foremost, on the long run, dieters actually gain more weight than non-dieters. Research always follows up with dieters. From 2 to 15 years after somebody begins dieting, they'll actually regain the weight, and they will have more weight than what they initially had when they began dieting. On the long run, dieting slows down our metabolism. It really messes up with it to the point that our body has to fight back to get to its natural metabolic state. In extreme cases, dieters can go through something called social withdrawal, where you start to, not go to parties or social events because somebody's going to eat bagels. And let's say you're really trying to stay away from bagels, so you don't want to tempt yourself. So you begin to say, oh, no, I'll see you later, after the coffee, after the breakfast, after the lunch, and stuff like that. Dieting is linked to depression. It's linked to increased levels of stress and anxiety. It messes up our hormones. It is not a joke. And just thinking about dieting, even before a person goes on a diet, just thinking about diets makes somebody crave sinful foods. So if I say to myself, Pat, you're going next week on a diet where you're cutting carbs, automatically, on a subconscious level, my brain would be like, okay, I want carbs, I want carbs, I want carbs. And I haven't even started dieting yet. You know what I mean? Dieting is linked with low self-esteem. It messes up with our trust that we have with ourselves, because like Krasimir was saying, you feel guilty, feel shameful, and you begin associating this guilt and shame with your self-worth. You say, I'm not worthy. I'm not able to keep a diet. How am I supposed to take care of other areas of my life? While you might not be thinking it, again, on a subliminal level, this is what's happening. You're questioning how much you trust yourself and how strong you are and how committed you are. On the long run, 49% of dieters end up binge eating or overeating. It's eating to the point where you really are full, but you're not able to stop, or you might not even be aware that you're overeating. So those are some of the things that I thought need to be mentioned on dieting.
We have a very nice question from Stavros. Myra, can you read it, please?
What about if you are taking the minimum hydrocortisone that the body requires to stay awake and struggle to lose weight? Doesn't that mean that everything you eat is extra calories on your body?
Okay, everything that you eat is extra calories on your body. Okay, so as we were mentioning before, the set point weight is different for every single person. And there are certain things that we can do to control our weight. Right, can you bring back the question, please? Okay. So you're struggling to lose weight. And there are 4 things you can actually play on, 4 factors you can play on if you're struggling to lose weight, regardless of what is happening. So, and that would depend on the lifestyle. So I'm going to get a little bit into detail, depending on the lifestyle. So if, let's say, you're somebody who wants to increase exercise in your lifestyle, you want to see more exercise in your lifestyle, you actually go for it. So you play in the factor of exercise. I want to increase physical activity in my day-to-day life, and I'm willing to see that change, and I'm going to make sure that I sort of balance out my eating calories with exercising. You can focus on the quality of food that you eat. Let's say you begin going for more natural sources instead of, and that can be like anything from, instead of frying your zucchini, you can go for grilling your zucchini. Instead of buying a can of chickpeas, you can go for boiling chickpeas as a more natural alternative. So you're focusing on the quality of food. A third factor you can do is focus on the quantity of food, which is keeping everything that you eat the same, but focus on the quantity. Instead of having one full pie, I'm going to have half a pie. Instead of finishing my plate, I'm going to leave a little bit and save it until later. This is like a tactic we can use to not to lose weight, but if we're trying to lose weight, we can always like make this rule of thumb that, I'm not going to finish my plate. I'm going to leave 10 or 20% on my plate, and that I will still be okay after that, And the fourth factor is to focus on the timing of the food. Let's say you make a commitment to yourself that after 6, I'm not eating, for example. Or let's say you make a commitment that I'm going to eat little portions every 3 hours. So you can play on those factors to lose weight, because those might be the things that are stopping you from lose weight. And other two major important things is regulating sleep and regulating stress, because those two really control our weight. They're like behind the scenes when it comes to our weight gain. So when we focus on being mindful or present or in a stress-free environment, whatever that means for you, and we get our proper 7 to 8 or 6 depending on new hours of sleep, this will aid in our weight loss. So these are small factors that you can play on, regardless of what your body thinks extra calories are or not, because that would be very different depending on the person. I hope that answered your question. I can't hear you.
So
Okay.
I can focus on only one, or I need to focus on 4 of them?
Only one. For long-term successful weight loss or weight control, I don't like to use weight loss because we can just like be in control a little bit of our weight. It's always better to choose one. And you might find yourself comfortable in one more than the other. You might find yourself swinging between the two, but normally you choose one for a certain period of time and you stick with it, depending on what you want, depending on what you think you can do, something that is realistic, right? And it's the same idea when it comes to goal setting. When we set goals, we think of realistic goal setting, right? This is a very simple tactic that works when it comes to weight control.
So do you want to say if I stop eating after 7 o'clock, I will have the results and I will lose the kilos?
If you overeat at night, absolutely. Because you're just making this rule, after 7, I'm not going to eat. And you honor your hunger. But let's say if you sleep at 3 in the morning, that won't work. If you sleep at 10, it's actually a little healthier for your gut, to be able to digest everything and sleep in a relaxed mode. Yes, without stressing on digesting the food. Mm-hmm. So it will be less stressful on our digestive tract.
Okay, I found the answer how I'm going to lose these 5 kilos without any issue.
I really hope so. Okay, so guys, we're going to go a little bit into the 3 major types of eaters. And we might find ourselves a little bit here, a little bit there, but again, there's normally one dominant type that we are. Personally, I've been through them all, so we can swing from one to the other or transition from one to the other depending on where we are at in our life. And the reason why I wanted us to find out what our eating personality is because it's easier to tackle the problem once we know what it is specifically. Right? Instead of just saying, I want to lose weight, or I'm not really healthy, or I'm not happy with the way I look or feel, and stuff like that. Deal? Okay, so the first type is the careful eater. The careful eater is somebody who is triggered on the surface by health and fitness. So they seem like somebody who really cares about health and fitness, but deep down, their real trigger is body image. Typically speaking, they're the people who would undereat, quantify their food. They really pay attention to the quantities and the amounts of food that they eat. When they go to the supermarket, they're the people who would, carefully examine each nutrition label. They're very picky about what they put in their mouths. They judge a lot, like, are you really going to eat that? So typically speaking, this is a careful eater. And they're always on their toes. They spend a lot of time planning their meal, planning their snacks. And yeah, this is like their eating style. They're preoccupied with food. And on the surface, again, it's because they care about health and fitness, but what they really are obsessed with is the weight on the scale and the way they look. It's their body image. This is the careful eater. Deal? Up next is the professional dieter. Professional dieters are triggered by feeling fat. They can tell you anything you want to know about dieting. They know a lot about nutrition. They know the tips and tricks of dieting. They have most probably tried the most recent commercial diet. They can tell you a lot about those things. They're often left frustrated because they're always on a diet and they're always, gaining weight, losing weight, feeling guilty, overeating, and, in that spiraling cycle, if you want to call it that way. And yeah, this is typically the professional dieter. I think you wanted to say something because you unmuted yourself, or no?
No.
Okay. So this is the professional dieter. And the third type, the major third type, is the unconscious eater. So the unconscious eater, generally speaking, is a multitasker. They would do a bunch of things while they eat. So they eat while watching TV. An unconscious eater eats while reading, while talking to a friend, while doing laundry, so whatever it is, you're just unconsciously eating. You're not aware that you're eating, and you're not aware of the quantities that you're eating. Now, unconscious eating is the most typical or the most widespread kind of eaters because we don't know. They're kind of dieters, but we don't know that they're dieters. Like, I didn't know I was an unconscious dieter, an unconscious eater, until I actually learned a little bit more about it. So there are certain subtypes of unconscious eaters that we're going to get into now. I realize I just do this a lot. But anyways, there's the chaotic unconscious eater. And this is somebody who's typically overscheduled. They have a really busy life, so many things to do, juggling so many things at once. I gotta study, I gotta work, I gotta cook, I gotta feed the kids, I gotta take the dog out. I have so many things happening at the same time. The last thing on my mind is food. I really don't care about nutrition. I really don't care about food, And normally chaotic unconscious eaters would eat when they're like really hungry, because they forget about food. So after a long day, you're like, oh shit, I'm starving, so I'm just gonna eat the first thing that I see. They don't care about what they eat. Like if they see, like if you offer them burgers or pizza, or if they offer them soups or salads, they will just go for it because they're so hungry. They don't really care about what they're eating. They're busy with other things. So this is the first type of unconscious eaters. The second type of unconscious eaters is called the refuse not unconscious eaters. And I see it, I eat it. This is what it means. Basically, they eat whatever they lay their eyes on. If they see a cookie, they eat a cookie. If they see an apple, they eat an apple. So regardless if they're hungry or if they're full, they just gotta eat. The third type of unconscious eaters is the waste not unconscious eater. And they're, members of the Let's Wipe Our Plate Clean club. And sometimes those kind of eaters value the dollar a lot, the food dollar. So they might eat because of the idea that food is worth a certain amount of money, and I don't want it to go to waste. So if I'm given this amount of food, I have to eat it all because I don't want it to go to waste. And typically speaking, in terms of an eating pattern, they're more likely to eat the leftovers on someone else's plate, like their children's plates, their spouse's plates. They don't want to see any more food left around because we don't want to waste food. And the fourth type of unconscious eater is the emotional eater that Sabine was mentioning. The emotional unconscious eater eats to cope with their emotions, with their anger, with their frustration, with their sadness and stuff like that. So far, so good?
Yes.
Okay, and there's the last type of eaters, which is what we're striving for, which is what we'll be delving into more next week, and it's called the intuitive eater. So all those eaters that we previously mentioned are governed by external factors. They rely on the external to be guided on what to eat. Meal plans, meal timing, diets, emotions, life, whatever it is. I'm looking for external factors. Yo, tell me how to eat. Instead of doing the opposite, listening to our body, listening to our body's cues and signals and understanding them and identifying them in the first place. So to go internally instead of externally.
The question of Sabine was, I'm a stress eater. What can I do to reduce it?
Yes, we'll get there. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
I haven't forgotten you. Okay. So the first thing that we need to do is identify our eating habits. The Krasimir and Clementine, were we able to do that?
I don't have
Which eater?
eating habits.
I'm more
Which
the
eater are
emotional
you?
eater. I'm more the emotional eater. Like to procrastinate, I will go to eat something. Probably.
Okay.
I'm
And
eating
Krasimir?
everything unhealthy,
Refuse not unconscious eater.
but I eat apples also.
Fantastic. Okay.
Because
So
yeah. No,
Go
it's
on.
okay. No, it's okay. I just want to say stupid jokes.
Okay.
We can go without the joke.
So that's fine. So back to Sabine. Sabine, you are already more than halfway there. Why? Because you know what the issue is. The issue is emotional eating. You are aware of it. And normally when we are aware of a problem, we're halfway there because we know what we need to work on. So here's where actually it's a process I don't really like doing, but I do it and it does work whenever I do feel like I'm about to eat because of emotions. You grab a pen and a paper and you write your emotions down. Or you call up a friend and you talk about your emotions. Whatever they are, they might be nasty, you might be angry, you might be sad. We have to let them out. And when we stress eat or when we actually eat because of emotions, regardless of the emotion, we're coping with emotions, but we're using food to cope with emotions. And while writing, I personally prefer writing. Let me tell you why, because it really takes your mind off the food. And by the time you're actually, analyzing your emotions and thinking why you're sad or why you're angry or why you're happy even, you actually have it all on paper in front of you. You're shifting the focus completely. Your brain is already, on a whole different page. And this is what I would personally recommend when it comes to emotional eating. Unfortunately, it might be a little bit difficult to go through if you're with someone. Let's say if you're out, if you're out and about and you have certain emotions and like you feel like you want to eat and you don't have this pen and paper, go inside your head.
She have a question. How can I do that at work?
She just answered
okay.
in the head.
Okay.
Yeah. And what also helps, actually, I think it helps any type of eater, regardless if you're an emotional eater or any other kind of eater, is to have healthy snacks around. That way, even if you're at work, even if you want to eat because of an emotion, at least you know that you're not harming your body in the process. Because what happens when we overeat is that when we emotionally eat, that we tend to overeat as a result. So we start with eating to cope with our emotions and we end up overeating because we're unconsciously eating. As I mentioned, it's an unconscious type of eating. So we're not aware of the quantities of the amounts of food that we're eating. And it helps to have something crunchy at the office because crunchiness is associated with feeling full. A cucumber, even chips, whatever, something that we crunch on, it takes more time to chew. It has more texture than like something that, for example. So go for something crunchy. And it's a practice. It's all I can say. It's a practice. I was, the biggest emotional eater. And step 1 was being aware of it. Step 2 was, writing everything because I would eat when I'm angry mostly.
But was it easy for you to stop and how long it takes you?
It took about 3 weeks.
Only?
Yeah. Because once you're aware of something really and you realize what your challenge is, what your issue is, it's brought up to the surface, you know exactly what you need to do, And, different things work for different people. So I can say something as we can have a sticky note that has a positive quote that reminds us that we're overeating for a wrong reason, and that might work for someone. That doesn't work for me, but it might work for someone. It's still a tactic. Okay? Okay, guys. So again, the reason I wanted us to have those eating personalities was to see where we fit most. And the most ideal eater is the intuitive eater. It's the little toddler inside of us who knows what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat naturally, you know. And we're going to tap into that next week, but I wanted to just introduce it a little bit differently this week. And stay tuned on the Morning Community Facebook page, because we will post a small exercise that I want you guys to do at your own free time. It will only take a few minutes. It's a quiz of about 16 or 17 questions. Yes or no questions, so you don't have to overthink about it or anything, done by a psychologist and researcher. And that would see the level of intuitive eating that you have. And it's very easy to identify the issues that you're going to be working on, so that when we delve into it more next week, you already know that, okay, I need to work on point A, B, and C. The rest I'm fine with. Okay? And as our task for the next 7 days, okay, first of all, I hope the water thing went great. I know it's very simple, but as a routine, it does wonders to our body. Now, the next challenge that we want to do for the next week is to try and be conscious of our food as much as possible. And I'm going to break it down and ask for only one thing. And that is to be conscious of the first bite of every kind of food that we have. As simple as that. For example, I'm having lunch. I have rice, I have chicken, and I have salad. I'm going to be conscious of the first spoon of salad that I have. I'm going to chew it. I'm going to taste it. I'm going to be aware of what is happening in my body. What do I feel? You know, I'm going to be at one with this spoonful of salad. Just this first spoon. First spoon of rice, I'm going to do the same. First bite of chicken, I'm going to do the same. Just when we introduce the flavors, let us train ourselves to just at least be conscious of this first initial contact we have with food. Can we do that?
Yes, you know, from yesterday, I'm planning my breakfast this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very happy when we finish, I just go straight because I know what to eat. My Clementine doesn't need this kind of thing, but it's Bulgarian traditional breakfast, so I'm gonna enjoy a lot.
That's great. See, when you're excited about food, a certain kind of food, you're injecting this excitement into your body, and I absolutely, love this.
Me too.
So love the food that you eat, everyone.
When you come to Cyprus, Clementine will make you French cuisine, so I can eat also.
Deal. And when you guys come to Lebanon, we'll also treat you to a nice Lebanese dish.
Dishes.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
Dishes.
We
Yes,
love
not
Lebanese.
dishes.
Dishes, deal.
Yes.
Okay, so I have many other questions, but we have another few weeks to answer all of these questions.
Yes, if you guys have any other questions, I think it's okay to write them down in the comment box after the video, and I would gladly get back on any details that we can cover.
I will lose 5 kilos. This is my challenge and I think with you it's going to become very easy peasy.
You can do it, but again, let's focus on the long term. We don't want to lose 5 and then gain 10.
Oh,
right,
no,
in 2 months.
5 is the beginning. Then I'm going to reduce them because I used to be 90 kilos and now I'm.
Yeah, as long as you don't spike up, so we're good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it, my love.
Yes.
Guys, go and eat. Be aware what you eat. Not like Charlie
Eat
Chaplin
what you
eating
love.
the shoes. And yes, see you tomorrow. No, wait for the quiz. Which part is going to post?
Yeah.
with
You're
the
going to
questions.
post in the group the quiz. Okay, so thank you all of you. Thank
And
you,
don't
Pat.
forget
Have
to
a
make your
fantastic day.
videos.
Yes.
Just 1 minute of your life, please. Even you can do it during you eat. Even
Have a
10
fantastic
seconds
day.
is achievement. Yes. Have a lovely, lovely day from all of us.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.